20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 2020 to buffer because the introduction gets shortchanged. So what is propelling me to feel like I have to clarify some type of field of intel, not for anybody else, but for my semblance in the ambiance of the ever-changing moods of the international geopolitical moods of life and reality. So the sensible entropy of psychological intelligence has led me to do this message. The sensible entropy of psychological intelligence, of how the individual is forced to come to interact with the distorted fields within the industries, and how that relates to the individual. It has led me to do these videos, and how the fields of, some type of offset could kind of energetically schmingle out / corrupt an individual being, and within God's gift of intelligence, us having some type of state of inquiry, investigation, and endurance to propel through this challenge of life. So what am I trying to say here is, like, I'm doing what I'm doing because of the relationship of the state of the world, and how the industries are interacting with fields of offset energies that result into some type of distortion, and that distortion industry field is interacting with breeds of consciousness, and that consciousness has an influence to distort any specimen, right? So, and somehow the glorious energetic opposite of that is saying that there's like a hidden balance, right? Energetically, right? So within that hidden balance, the tolerance is an understatement. The consistency is an understatement. The consistency is karmic as well, right? Because we could only be consistent into what our limited contracted free will could allow us to, because the free will is somewhatly in different contexts, it's contracted, right? Other people have contracts to try to contract you with or without your consent. So we're finding consent in the digital tech fuck shit world of rhetorical just hype shit, and we're finding consent in real time to fucking relationship to relationship type of new relationships, of how there's some type of consent going on, right? And somehow the modern law, with or without AI, can't necessarily detect what has been consented, what has not been consented. And aside from all the policy protocols, there seems to be a lack of a consideration for a real natural ethicality of boundaries per consent, right? So there's a lack of boundaries per consent despite all of the policy protocols, right? So the sensible entropy in the psychological intelligence, in the state of collective intelligence, and how it leads the individual to interact with the fields of the distortion of the collective reality, has led me to say what I'm saying and do what I'm doing, and explaining it for myself and my clarity, and to see, like, not necessarily putting anybody on the spot, but if you're at that spot and you're worth that much, then you would have to have some inkling of a perspective of knowledge where you can answer that question, right? If like, the news is saying Elon getting to 1 tree, right? So like that has to be backed up by some type of ethical knowledge, you would think, right? So within the ethical knowledge, what we're thinking is, now I'm forced to ask Elon this question based on the pre-aforementioned explanation, which is, based on your sensible intelligence, what are you doing personally to balance the economical field? More specifically, how that would to be determined is by having a different appeal solution question. Original open source #1 Galax is saying, Elon, what are you doing with your sensible intelligence to fix and patch up the confusions and the energetic mental confusion distortions within how there's a faulty data analytic processor industry across the board in the international cyber tech field, right? So within the international cyber tech field, there's a lot of fluff there, ironic as it is, right? So it's like the #1 ironic thing. Tech could do all this shit, but there's hella fluff there because there's distorted archonic energies, right? And only God could save you from that distorted archonic energies by some type of intelligence, by some type of action plan, by some type of grace within the human and sentient consciousness, and by some type of voting affiliation for it, right? So by some type of affiliation, only God could save us from that stuff, right? So what am I trying to say? Like, if Elon is at that level, then Elon, you would have some type of sensible intelligence, mine other people's empathic, projections. Elon, you would have some type of sensible projection of what is your sensible intelligence. What are you doing aside from all of the tech hype, aside from all the tech, even the government hype, the political hype and bullshit within that intermingling? What are you doing, Elon, for what are you doing to patch up faulty, literally energetically retarded data analytic processor industries across the board? And that is tied to the governmental shit. The distorted archonic beings are tied to the government shit. And then from that energy, as a byproduct, energetically metaphorical baby rape governmental mechanisms are there per the distortion in the industries. Though that's a small percentage within how the government is functioning. There's to a wavering percentage of around 25% to 75%. There's a wavering rigged mechanics of the funds are completely distortedly funneled unfairly, but to some percentage it is fair, and it's up to us to see it's up to us for God's intelligence to see the balance, for us to see the balance of how it could be possibly patched up. So Elon, within your sensible intelligence, what are you doing to fix metaphorical baby rape government mechanisms within the international geopolitical field, if you're worth that much? And what are you doing to patch up faulty data analytic technological processing fields in mental governmental industries that affect the tech field? You have the best life ever. And Jai Shri Balaram, Netflix, you have to consider what Balaram thinks about you guys harboring his intellectual property, because Vedas say Balaram is the source. This is Balaram shit. You're taking the source's shit without a proper reciprocation, and it's like you have to like be a little more considerate, like y'all, like, and I understand the lineages, right, of like, the Sudhya stuff, etc., but like you still have to be considerate of like the source of like, this isn't your source intellectual property most respectively. So it's like you can't be faultily wise harboring intellectual property that's not entirely yours, right? So it's like you got to be considerate of some shit. Like for y'all to fucking like lean off that energetic property to propel your shit, and it's not entirely like assessed with a different higher table council, then that's like to some extent it's like there's an energetic cheating going on, right? So if we don't fix the energetic cheating in international government, then that's why the distortion is allowed to be what it is, because it's not being recognized. We're recognizing the distortion so we could fix it. #1.